Hello, everybody. So what we're going to be doing today is Lab 9B. So you may not have seen this earlier, but it's up here now. I guess you've seen it because you wouldn't be watching this video if you hadn't already clicked on it. So this lab here, you actually have to turn in nothing. You do need to submit it though. As it says here, just type done in the box and submit the assignment. So for students, it looks like this. And if you scroll down, it just says what to submit. Nothing. Type done in the box. So you just do that and hit submit and you're done. You can type anything there. It doesn't really matter. All right. So what are we doing? Well, so for the last, we have like a little bit over a month of class left, 6 weeks or something. We want to try to make something more complicated before we're done with this semester. And so usually what we do is we like make a game or something. At least we have for the last couple of semesters. So we want to do that. And so what this is doing in this lab is just trying to um, make a blank window. And this is going to involve code that you haven't seen before, right? So if you look here, it says like problem one, and it says create a new project in class and using the following code. Notice that I call my class lab 9B, uppercase B. That appears a couple times in the code, right? Like if your class is called lab 9B, it's right here. We're used to that. But you may notice that that's also in two other places here. Also here, lab 9B, and also down here, lab 9B. So if you call your lab something else when you create the class, you're going to need to make sure that, everywhere where the name of the class is referred to, you update that to be whatever yours is. Okay. I'm just going to call mine lab 9B though. So let's just do this. So we'll go into Eclipse and we will create a new project. Let's just call it Lab 9B. Finish. And let's click on the SRC and we'll do a new class and we'll call it Lab 9B. It does not matter if I click public static void main because we're going to overwrite what's there. But I'll click it anyway. And we have just a blank project. Now, let's copy this code and head over here. So this code you've never seen before. It does stuff you don't know about. You're not supposed to know about it. But this is what you would get. Like whenever you're programming in a new programming language and you want to do things like open windows and things like that, that's always going to involve like talking to the operating system in some way. And you don't do that on your own. You're going to need kind of you're going to need built-in libraries that can do that for us. So in Java, we have these things called the AWT and Swing. We also have others. If you want to know what they are, right, we can go and we can say Java Swing. What is it? Um, Swing is a Java Foundation Classes library and an extension to the Abstract Window Toolkit, AWT. So um, Swing has about 4 times the number of user interface components as AWT. So you see user interface components. What are user interface components? Well, Windows, right? We're talking about opening Windows. And you see AWT and Swing. And over here, you see AWT and Swing. So these libraries here, we may have to add more in the future for future projects, but for now, we're using these. Um, Now, you need these to open a window. And if I was telling you to do this on your own and not providing you with the code, what I would recommend you do is this is a really good use of ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude or anything. You can go to these tools and you could say something like, write a minimal Java program with, let's say, Swing AWT that opens a 800 by 600 window. That's it, with a black background, right? So you can do something like this. We don't need to because I provided the code, but when you're starting with a new programming language, prompts like this to get an AI to just spit out a little, like the smallest program you can. Look how this one's already bigger than ours. Um, so something like this for us is a really good way of getting started. Okay. Now, you don't have to use AI because I provided this one right here, which we've already copied over here. So essentially, I was the AI. I gave you a blank program to open up a window. And we can try to read what it does. So it says like public class lab 9B extends JPanel. We can look up the documentation for JPanel, but let's see, you can scroll down here. You can see JPanel is a generic lightweight container. Um, Swing is not thread safe. Okay, well, that's not particularly useful. But like JPanel is again a thing saying, hey, we're making a window. Um, Now we have code up here and we have code in here. It didn't have to be that way. But what we're going to start seeing soon is we're going to start seeing these what are they called, methods, multiple methods, right? Previously we've only had the main method. Now I have a method called actually the name of the class here, and that's just code that's going to run when we say new lab 9. It's going to run this code here. You can try to read the line, set preferred size 800 by 600. Okay, well, obviously that's how I'm getting an 800 by 600 window is this. And it says set background color black. Well, that's probably why the background's going to be black. Um, JFrame frame, new JFrame game window. Well, that's going to be the title on the window. Frame set default close operation. So like when you have a window, a lot of times there's a little X in the corner, right, to close it. This is what's setting that to make it work. Frame.add new lab 9. This is what goes up here and runs this code. Frame.pack. I believe what that does, oh, it actually says what it does, causes the window to be sized to fit the preferred size and layout of its subcomponents. The resulting width and height of the window are automatically enlarged. So this is going to, make our window actually 800 by 600, we hope. And then it says set location relative to. That's so you can put the window in a particular place on the screen, and then set it to visible so we can see it. Now, having said all that, what's it do when you run it? Run this. So a blank window. You can change the size. You can see the title is game window because that's what we wrote somewhere right here. And yeah, it's just a blank window. So like this kind of code is just kind of the minimum amount of code you need to get a window up on the screen. You kind of copy paste that when you're getting started. And then from then on, we don't have to think about it because we're just going to be building on what we already have. Let's go back to the web browser. Problem 2, let's draw something in the window. So um, the code that we have is making, do I have it open still? No, I closed it. The code that we have still here just opens a black window and there's nothing inside it, right? Well, we don't want that. We want to draw something in it eventually. And so for today, our job is just to take this code right here, public void paint component graphics. So the graphics G, the graphics is basically like going to give us a rectangle to draw in. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take this rectangle for the background and we're going to set our color to green. And then we're going to fill a rectangle. And let's just take this code and we can put it anywhere. I'll just put it here. Run. Oh, look at that. We have a little green rectangle in there. So we have a little green rectangle there. And specifically, We had fill rect and three numbers or four numbers went in there. So the first two numbers, the 100 and the 200, those are X and Y coordinates. So the X coordinate is 100. So that means 100 pixels to the like over and 200. That means 200 pixels down because this corner up here is 0, 0. So 100, 200. That's this top left corner of the green rectangle. And then the next two numbers are 50, 50, and that's the size of the rectangle. And you can experiment with this. So like I can come here and say like, well, what if I did 300, 200? Okay, well now it's further over, right? It was over here, now it's over here, right? Because we increased the X value there. Um, you can put a 0, 0. That would allow you to see where 0, 0 is, top left. Okay, let's change it to 200, 100. Okay, it's there. We can change these numbers. What if I go 150? Oh, okay, cool. Um, what if I do 20? Oh, okay. So the 150 is how wide it is, and the 20 is how tall it is. And the first two coordinates are the X and Y coordinates, right? And so when we eventually get to the point of making a game, which will be, several weeks from now, we're going to build up to it though. Uh, we're going to be drawing things in different places, but we're just going to use commands like this. Like for example, there's several games that we could code up. One game might be Pong. Like Pong looks basically like this. We could make something like this, right? Couldn't we? Couldn't we write code for this kind of game? It doesn't look too hard. I think we could manage it. In fact, we could, draw it right now, right? Like I could draw a rectangle. Like right now we have this rectangle. I could make it vertical, right? Like I could change this to like 15, and this could be like 125, right? If I do this, oh, okay, now that kind of looks like the paddle. I could put it over here by changing this number to maybe like 20. Yeah, that kind of looks like a paddle for Pong. Maybe move it over a little more. Um, but guess what? We can draw other stuff, right? We can draw more than one thing. I could take this fill rect and I can do another one. But maybe instead of putting it at 30, we put it on the other side of the screen, which we have to remember that our screen is 800 pixels wide. So um, maybe I'll make this 20 to make the math easier. But then 800 minus 30, that's where this was. So that'd be like 770. But that'll be too close to the edge, you'll see, if I change this to 770. Yeah, see, that's closer to the edge because the position is actually the top left corner, which means if the width is 20 here, then I should take off 20 more. So now they're the same distance from the edge. Maybe I want to put this one in a different place. Maybe I just want to put it further down, like 350 down or something. Hey, it kind of looks like Pong, right? I mean, it's not actually a game, but we can draw rectangles. And then maybe we can draw a ball. And how would we do that? Well, at some point, we see this graphics here, which is a class, and fill rect must be from that class. So if you go Java graphics, let's say fill rect, that's what we have. I guess we'll just click on the top link. Whoa, lots of stuff, right? But if we scroll down, we'll see, like we can see, oh, we see fill rect right here. There's fill rect, there's fill round rect. It's a rounded rectangle. There's fill polygon, there's fill oval, there's all these things. Fill oval can draw a circle. Maybe we'll have a ball at some point, right? If we have a ball, maybe the ball might be an oval. And let's just put it kind of in the middle. If it's around 800 here, then like the middle is 400. So like maybe we'll say like 360 or something. Um, and then the ball, well, I wouldn't want 20 and 125 because that's going to be a really oval shaped the same as the paddles, right? You'd want the ball to be maybe like 10 by 10 or something, right? So it's a round ball. Okay, that looks too small though, right? So we wouldn't want that. Maybe we would want like 25 by 25. Maybe that's a better size for the ball. That looks fine. I don't like everything being green though. Maybe we can change that. So maybe we can take check this set color. And before I draw a ball, maybe I go down here and I go blue. Oh, we got a blue ball. That's hard to see. But the point is at this point, we're not really doing much. Point is really just that anything that we draw is going to go inside this function called paint component. So when we get to the point of having a real paddle and a ball, if we were making Pong, we might not make Pong, but if we were making Pong, this is where you'd have to draw the paddle. This is where you'd have to draw the ball. This is where you'd have to draw, I don't know, the score, right? If you're keeping score, who's what player's winning. So you just draw everything in the paint component. So what happens is the Java public static void main, this is where your game goes. Uh, this is where your drawing goes, and you can make an entire game. Now, I'm sort of lying to you, right? Because in order for the code to be readable, you wouldn't want everything in this one file actually, but you could. And also, we don't have enough code here because we're drawing this, right? When we run this, yeah, we're drawing like a green paddle here and a green paddle here and a ball, but nothing can move because we're not updating the screen. If you wanted to make a game, you would need to update the screen like every, 1/60th of a second, right? So that you have a higher frame rate. We don't have a frame rate, so there would need to be code for that. But this is where we start, where we just can we draw a window? So the point of the lab was really just to kind of run this code. You don't even have to, you could have just run the code that said sample code, which is everything all in one place, instead of copying and pasting two places, and then just hit done. And what we're going to be doing is in the future, we're going to have two labs a week. And the first lab will be on whatever the topic is that we're covering. And the second one will just kind of be continuing on with this. So, we'll just add to it. How do you update the screen? How can we do our game logic and that kind of stuff? Um, all right, well, that's going to be it for this. So just check it out, type done, and get your points. And I'll see you in the next video.